Hey there everyone, and welcome back. Today we'll be doing another side-by-side benchmark video, but today will be between FSX Steam Edition and Lockheed Martin's Prepared, or P3D. I want to make sure that I start this video with a sense of context around the settings that you'll be seeing me use in P3D, and what this benchmark is and what it is not. To do that, first we have to understand the difference between these two platforms on a fundamental basis. It's very important to recognize that although both are built on the same core technology of Microsoft's Flight Simulator X, the licenses and thus the capabilities that both of these developers have in terms of access to their simulators are very, very different. Dovetail only has access to redistribute Microsoft's Flight Simulator X on Steam and to make multiplayer enhancements. Or I should say restore the capability of multiplayer in FSX Steam Edition. However, they are not able to make any changes to the feature set or the look of the simulator. This means that they cannot do things like add cloud shadows or add new aircraft into the simulator, etc. However, they are able to change the underlying code to make the enhancements to performance that you saw in my previous benchmark videos. Lockheed Martin is a different story. Lockheed Martin, if you don't know who they are, is a multi-billion-dollar defense contractor who share the defense conglomerate space with the likes of General Dynamics, Boeing, Raytheon, etc. And they wanted a simulator that would allow them to demonstrate and train their clients on their weapon systems. So they bought what was at the time the cutting-edge flight simulation technology, or simulator technology, which was Microsoft's Flight Simulator X, but theirs is different than Dovetail's. Dovetail has the right to redistribute the entertainment-based Flight Simulator X, and Lockheed Martin bought what's called ESP. ESP, and I'm quoting this, is defined by Microsoft of specific interest to the flight simulator development community as an opportunity to expand on the powerful Microsoft ESP serious game simulation platform, which is licensed to be sold by third parties and used in commercial, non-entertainment settings. Built on the core technology behind Microsoft's Flight Simulator X, Microsoft ESP is a visual simulation platform that brings immersive games-based technology to training and learning, decision support, and research and development modeling for government and commercial organizations. Basically, in a nutshell, it is not a consumer entertainment-based platform. It is a game core that has been converted for use for government, academic, and commercial use. Now, this video is not about which license you should buy or whether or not you're violating the EULA. There's lots of conversations online that you can go out there and research for yourself, and I am not going to get into that. The only reason I say those things is because it's important to understand that the look and feel of P3D is significantly different to FSX. However, they are built on the same platform. That same platform still has a lot of the constraints that the consumer version has, and it's still 32-bit. So when I was doing my benchmarking today, it was important that I make sure that the two are on an even playing field, while not unnecessarily crippling P3D's enhancements that they've made to the underlying code. So what do I mean by that? Well, P3D has the capability to demonstrate a lot of eye candy. And that eye candy would prove to be detrimental to the benchmark results of P3D. So if it's eye candy that's only available in P3D but is not available in Microsoft's Flight Simulator X or Steam Edition, I took it off. Now, this is not to make P3D not look any better, because I will tell you right now that if you put all the eye candy on, P3D is one of the most gorgeous looking games, nonetheless simulators, to ever exist. But putting on all that eye candy would result in a faster OOM and decreased frame rates, which are a big part of what this benchmark is all about. So I wanted to even the playing field. I wanted to make things fair for P3D and not put all its eye candy on and max it out just for the sake of maxing it out, when it being maxed out is naturally going to provide worse performance than even FSX Steam Edition maxed out, because there's just not that much available eye candy or visual improvements that you see in P3D. So I hope that makes sense to everyone. let's look at the settings and I'll show you guys what I turned off and what I kept. First of all, here on the graphics tab, we are using all the anti-aliasing features, also increased terrain resolution to the same as it is in FSX Theme Edition, which is 4096. Hardware tessellation is a performance enhancing tool that is built into P3D. We do not have this option in FSX Theme Edition, but I did not want to cripple the simulator's enhancement, so I left this on because it should provide better performance for P3D. You guys can see same monitor resolutions, my same video cards. I turned VSync off and put the target frame rate to unlimited, same as it was in FSX Theme Edition. Scenery, everything's maxed out just as it was in FSX Theme Edition. All the resolutions are the same across the two platforms. Also, when you look at the level of detail radius, it being at max is 6.5, which is exactly what it was in the FSX Theme Edition benchmark. Scenery complexity is all maxed out, which is the same. Special effects all maxed out. Water detail, put it all the way to the right. There's really no way of making the water in P3D exactly the same as FSX Theme Edition because its water is fundamentally different from the core, but the reflections that come off of the water, I put them all on because FSX Theme Edition maxed out reflects these same objects. On the lighting side, all the lighting is pretty much the same. One thing I did do is I turned off terrain shadow cast distance because casting terrain shadows and casting cloud shadows is not something that FSX Theme Edition has the capability to do, and these really hurt the performance of P3D. So turning them on would be unfair to P3D in this benchmark. So I turned them off, and also turned off all of the other shadows that are not displayed in FSX Theme Edition based on the settings that we previously ran. I also turned off HDR Lighting. It's another piece of eye candy that, although looks very great and makes for a very cool kind of cinematic effect as you're flying, it is something that hurts performance, and once again it would be unfair to give that advantage to FSX Theme Edition for the sake of eye candy in P3D. Weather, today we're going to be flying with clear skies anyway, so it really doesn't matter what the weather settings are. But the other thing I did turn off is volumetric fog, which once again is not something that FSX Theme Edition is capable of demonstrating. Traffic is all the same. I was able to get My Traffic 2013 to work in P3D, so I have it on just like I had it on in FSX Theme Edition, and airline traffic density, general aviation, all this stuff is exactly the same. I'm also using GSX, so all these settings are exactly the same as they were in FSX Theme Edition. The one other thing I will show you is the scenery library. So in the scenery library, you'll see them using the same exact add-ons. Two versions of freeware, Ontario and KLGB. FSDT's LAX. These come automatically with Orbx Global and Vector, which I'm using here as well. My Traffic 2013, as I said earlier, and that's pretty much it. You can see vectors all the way down here, and still using FS Global Ultimate meshes. So all the add-ons are exactly the same between the two, and of course we're flying the Quality Wing 757-200, just as we did in FSX Theme Edition. So let's take a look at the simulator real quickly, and we'll actually get into our benchmark. On the left-hand side, you'll see our VAS usage, just as you saw with FSX Theme Edition, and that's what we'll be using to kind of keep our eye on performance. So let me go ahead and turn the sound back on, and we'll go on down and set up our panel once again. That's the only thing we'll need to edit. Take off, and we'll look at legs here real quickly. So all our legs are set. Alright, and I'll go ahead and set up our TCAS or our TFC here as well. Make sure that's all set up and ready to go. And I'm actually unable to get fraps to properly display, so it's a little bit hard to see, but you'll have to use the built-in FPS indicator that you see there at the top left-hand side. So let's go ahead and take a look outside. The same view set up as we had in FSX Theme Edition. Do our quick circle. Alright, we'll go ahead and jump back into our VC and get ready to take off. So we're all ready to go, and let's go ahead and hit EPR.
knots. 80 knots. V1, V1. Rotate, rotate. V2. Positive rate. Hero.
Go ahead and take a look outside now. One thing that you'll definitely see is you'll see how amazing the water textures are in P3D. That's one thing I have to say I really wish we had in FSX because they have completely revamped the way the water looks, and it looks absolutely incredible. As you can see right now, for the most part, VAS is pretty much comparable between the two simulators, as is frame rates. P3D and FSX Steam Edition are both somewhere around the low to mid 20s in terms of frame rates, and VAS is higher in P3D by a marginal amount, about 100 megs or so, so not necessarily much higher. The other important thing to remember as you look at these two platforms is that FSX Steam Edition was running in DirectX 9, while P3D is actually a platform that runs in DirectX 11. Now, everyone knows that if you use or if you've been doing this for a while, I should say, I should not assume that everyone knows, but if you do research it, there is a DirectX 10 capability in FSX Steam Edition and Boxed FSX. By using that capability, it not only shows that performance can be improved, but also VAS usage can be improved as well. However, in this test, we're comparing the very base stock 2007 based DirectX 9 to what is the most modern version of DirectX, which is DirectX 11. Naturally, that gives P3D an immediate advantage in terms of how it's capable of rendering scenery, rendering detail, rendering various forms of anti-aliasing, etc., and also, of course, how it is that it's able to manage memory. We're right over KLGB now, so we'll go ahead and jump back into the virtual cockpit, and we'll start setting up our approach into KONT. So I have to say, I'm pretty surprised that a DirectX 9 platform is performing just as well as a DirectX 11 platform on an even playing field. I really thought that with the years of development that have gone into P3D, that even when you turn all the eye candy off, as we have in this instance, that it would have been a night and day comparison in terms of speed and efficiency, not only in frames per second, but also in VAS. Now, of course, like I said earlier, we have to have realistic expectations that Lockheed Martin is not a game developer. They are not trying to compete with Ubisoft or Activision or Dovetail. They are there for consumer and government clients. But still, when you read about people's experience with P3D, I honestly had the expectation that P3D would have completely taken off on the old DirectX 9 platform that we're running right now. Regardless, the results speak for themselves, and I think this is a very important thing for the flight simulation community. A lot of folks out there make vlogs and opinion articles where they fill people's ears and heads with conjecture and conspiracy instead of science and benchmarking. That's one of the things I commit to do on my channel. Is I want to make sure that if I say something, it's something that either I have the facts to back up with science or with examples such as this, or it's known information or widely known or accepted information that's out on the internet from trusted folks in the flight simulation community to provide to my viewers. So take it for what it is, but I do have to say I am surprised by these results, and I hope that the results speak for themselves for anyone who's watching. Before we start our descent here, as you're looking at these two simulators, one thing you'll notice is that it seems as though the color of the ground and the textures on the ground are different between the two. That's not because we're using any sort of a different texture set, but because Lockheed Martin, in being able to change anything they want in this simulator, also changed the land class, the base land class that comes shipped with their simulator. So it's still all Orbx Global and Vector, but just the land class that P3D uses is different. Alright, now it's time to start our descent here, so throw out some spoilers.
2500.
Well, it looks like we're starting to reach that point of critical mass, and sure enough, we're starting to get our beeps from P3D. Now, obviously, it made a much better showing than old FSX did. Even though old FSX was running DirectX 9, and if it was running DirectX 10, it probably would have fared better. But regardless, P3D made a relatively good showing here, but it's looking like it's the end of the line any second here now. Got to put down the gear. And that's it. So, you know, once again, P3D for everything that it is. You know, visually, it's a great step forward, but it still goes to show you that 32-bit sim is a 32-bit sim, and unless a game developer really goes under the hood and makes it perform the way that gamers would like for it to perform, it's going to be very, very difficult to get the results that you would like out of it. Now, once again, everything that I say, I try to show in science, and I try to avoid conjecture and opinions and vlogs and rants and, you know, all of that stuff, as opposed to just showing you guys and being very objective and very clear. P3D is a beautiful advancement in the flight simulator community, just like X-Plane is, just like Aerofly is, and at the end of the day, it's important to remember that you should use the sim that you enjoy. X-Plane has a freeware development community that, you know, just is absolutely incredible. I mean, it's like just as big as FSX's a payware community, and to be honest with you, the quality of some of their stuff on the freeware side is better than some of our payware stuff. Old FSX has outstanding compatibility with obviously the largest set of products, and you know, she's old faithful, very stable in terms of, you know, not having to deal with updates and all that other stuff. It's the same sim that's been since 2007. FSX Steam Edition has proven itself to be a VAS monster and very, very good at preventing out-of-memory errors, and P3D is a beauty to look at, and it's you know, a visual enhancement for it. It's almost like if I could take the freeware community and the 64-bit capability of X-Plane, along with the visual fidelity of, actually some of X-Plane's visual fidelity is absolutely amazing too, but take some of the visual fidelity of X-Plane along with P3D, slap it together with the payware offerings that are there for old FSX, and the stability and vast management of FSX Steam Edition, we would have the perfect sim. Of course, that's a pipe dream. It's not going to happen, but hey, one could hope. So, I appreciate you guys all watching. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. I got a real special video coming up here very, very soon, so hope you guys tune in for that. Everybody take care, and thanks for watching once again.